There we go.
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
So yes, my name is Stellar with all my last names. Thank you for having me. I am just going to share my PowerPoint with you because I think it helps to see the words out there and connect with the different things that I'm saying. Please, at any time, interrupt me if you have any questions about what I'm sharing with you. Sarah shared with me your charter and your different responsibilities and things like that. So hopefully this PowerPoint will help kind of connect the dots with everybody. So I'll go ahead and share here. So I think the most important thing, so there's that, just saying hello, is that along with getting my PhD, I focused on sustainability and trucking. I've been a climate reality presenter for almost a decade. I've helped host climate strikes and then volunteer with a lot of different climate initiatives. So when I think about the green team and the different things you guys are trying to do, it encompasses a lot of volunteer efforts I've done in the past, which is really cool because it's kind of all about that grassroots buildup and how do you gain momentum and how do you make the most impact. So I wanted to start off with kind of um, asking the question more about your research. When I looked at the charter, I saw the different goals that you had, but I didn't see where it kind of linked back to the company or sales goals, and where it thought about the snapshot of where you are right now. And there could be a couple reasons for that. One, it's really tough to calculate all that data unless you have a specific department and you're using the different resources. Kind of carbon calculating is tough. It takes a lot of work to be able to figure that out for any company in any industry. But the other thing might be is that ZipWhip inherently isn't a big producer of waste, right? You guys aren't making widgets, you're not polluting rivers, you're not thinking about, the development of a product and how it ultimately ends up in a landfill. So it doesn't even require as much thought as, say, a company that's manufacturing something. So that could be the reason why there's not the link between where you are now and where you're looking to go tied back to the company itself. And that's perfectly okay, right? You can still be a green team that goes out and does wonderful things without the encompassing of, the company as a whole. But I think you want to identify that so the company knows where you're at and what you're trying to do going forward. So that was my suggestion in reading the charter. The other part is being able to set those goals. So, again, you have those responsibilities, and a lot of them looked like goals to me. But then we also need to add in the actionable items to each of them, the proposed timelines, what the actions are going to be with an individual or with a group. And then we have to link all of that back together with communication. Because if you do all these wonderful things and we don't tell anyone about it, you're not going to be able to generate more interest or see other people that go, hey, that's really cool. You did that. Now, how can I participate or share that with other people that I know? So being able to kind of tease out these things as you think about your projects will be incredibly important in making sure that they hold that longevity in what they're, going to stand for going forward. So a couple of things I thought that would be really impactful, especially with ZipWhip and the Green Team, would be to focus on education. And I suggested this in my dissertation as well when I focused on the trucking company, the national trucking company, because the trucking company can only do so much. But that doesn't mean that we can't educate the employees in the workforce about, the oceans and the air and plants and everything that kind of encompasses our global climate. So you can think about this globally, you can think about it citywide, or you can just think about it in terms of the company. You don't have to do all three, you could do a couple, but you want to narrow down what information you want to share with your employees and how you want to educate them. because they're not going to know to take action or to support your cause until they understand why it's important. So that would be the first thing that I would suggest. The next one, especially with COVID, would be to focus on energy efficiency. So as we can all see, we're working from home, only a few are going into the office. But how can we support employees with their home improvements, their behavior changes at home? I know me personally, I am generating a ton more trash. So how am I thinking about that now that I'm not doing that at work? How can I still make that impact at home now that I'm here more often? And then we have to think about how our food plays an important part in that. And this could very easily go back to that education piece, in understanding how our food contributes to climate change, alternatives. You guys could think about restaurants to support, that are local to you, and share that information with other employees. Maybe if you're interested in eating a burger, you find other ways to help, the climate bounce back because you want to offset, eating something like a burger. And again, it's all back to encouraging those better choices and that positive change, because every little bit can really make a difference. And then the other things to think about are trying to get back out with those natural experiences. I know with us, in being in the state of Nevada, we are not very populated. So it was very easy for us to get out and enjoy our public spaces because we could spread out. So trying to find ways where employees can do that same kind of activity, along with education. The more employees can connect with nature, the more they can tie their actions to let's be better and let's contribute positively to the environment. And then again, all the other host of benefits of exercising and fitness and just being able to be more connected. You just feel better when you're out enjoying natural spaces. The other part would be consumer habits. I would say that personally, Sarah and I, we share a lot about things we find that make a big difference. Reusable puppy pads for her cat, silicone baking sheets instead of using tinfoil or parchment paper. Just things that we every day swap out, in making sure that we can do better choices. And then we want to connect that back to being social. So it's great that I found the silicone baking sheets, but why don't I share that with someone else so that they know as well? I'm fully into all the different things that happen environmentally, but I just found these baking sheets. So, the more we can share those social and consumer choices, the more we can get people moving in that better direction. And then the last thing, and I have proposed this, I have a climate change group here in Reno, but I proposed this with them, and we've been working on getting out more in cleanup pods. And we have been working on going out in groups of 2 or 3, social distancing, but we're at the beach, we're picking up trash. We're walking around the lake, picking up trash, just finding ways where you can get a few people together, social distance, and still make an impact out in the community by being able to do something that's meaningful towards the environment or helps socially. So those are 6 of the things that I thought ZipWhip could start to do right now, in terms of gaining engagement and people seeing the impact that you have. It doesn't have a ton of, background research or, figuring out how to do things logistically. They all seem like things that can move pretty quickly in trying to gain that, the followers and the different, people that see what you're doing and want to get behind those acts. And then to get into higher engagement at the company and employees seeing what you're doing, the best thing to do, especially with COVID, is to make it social. And a few ways to do that are to invoke feeling. So doing good by others or by the environment just naturally boosts our serotonin, makes us feel better. So let's think about how we can get people out or changing their habits, and the feeling that comes with that. And when they have that good feeling, then they want to connect that with others. So then we want to brand how we're making those changes as connecting, especially when we feel so disconnected with COVID. And then that can kind of bring everyone together on a common ground. And then once we have that feeling, we connect everyone, we share that socially so other people see the positive things that we're doing and start to make those changes on their own or get their groups together or join the green team or, do different things that are going to, continue to make this positive change. And it's all about just promoting those future acts. So those were the things I think I was asked to cover. I will unshare my screen so that you guys can have it back, and we can discuss and I can ask questions. But that was kind of the gist of what I felt you guys were looking for and how to bridge those gaps and move forward. So open to questions if you guys have them.
This is great. I'm already feeling inspired about 2021 and where we can go from here. This is a nice burst of of inspiration and info here. So thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
I'll kick it off with a question, which is going back to essentially what I heard is like, how do we measure what we're doing or track it to our actual, what we're doing at the company. And it occurs to me that, it would be nice in a way to we've had someone else come in and talk about measuring what we do. And do you think that's useful? And if so, like what in your mind can we measure as a group, starting with, I'm not really sure where we're at now, like finding a baseline of X, like our carbon usage, or could we be like, if we're focusing on education, which actually it's funny that that's one of our initiatives coming up. It's one of our next projects. Like, do we track it of like per educational opportunities that we have provided or number of people that have come to our educational things? Do you have some ideas about giving us a baseline of some different elements to measure?
I would say first, connecting with leadership, so C-suite leadership, on where they see the company and what role they see environment and sustainability playing. And I would ask them, if the company was sustainable, what would that look like to you? And I say that because you will gain more information and get greater help if they understand why this is working. If the company C-suite leadership is just like, we don't think we think we are green, we're good to go, and you guys say, okay, we're just going to operate as the green team somewhat separately, then I would focus on your followers, the amount of people you're able to bring together, how many people went out and didn't act. For the climate reality presentations that I do, after you do a presentation or get together with a leader or, do a march, whatever it is, you go and you log that act. And that way people see the different ways everyone is getting out behind climate change and environmental services. So I would say you want to focus on how many people you can bring together and the different acts that people do to make a difference. And that's probably your easiest way to track kind of what's happening. Maybe from there, if you have really good followers and a lot of different acts that complete, you could go back to that C-suite leadership and say, look at the difference that we're making. But again, you guys are inherently an IT company. So again, you don't make a ton of waste and different things. So it will look different for you than a lot of other companies.
I have a quick question on that. If we're logging these acts, where do other companies put those and show them? Just, I mean, is it something we would just use Slack for or elsewhere?
Yeah, I would say any program that you guys use, you have to think about as how you do the rest of your project managing, right? You think about who's going to lead this, what are the steps we need to do to get it together, how do we execute the event, and then who was there to help us, do the work. So the platform we use is totally separate. They have their own big conglomerate thing that they use. But I would say if I was a littler group, Slack or Asana or all those other ones, just to say, hey, employees go through it. Or maybe they even just email one person or a listserv email and say, hey, this is what I did. And someone just keeps track of those. That also might be helpful because then that person can share what's been done. Social media with the rest of the company. It doesn't just fall into kind of a void if someone's managing the different acts that people are doing. And then the other piece could be some sort of social group, Facebook group, or whatever it is that just shares the things that people have done or the changes that they've made or the behaviors that they've stopped doing or changed. Because again, in working with Sarah and just the different things that we find, Loop or what was the name of the brand of the recyclable bottles, the glass bottles? Blue Land?
Cleaning products?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So even
Yeah,
just
I
things
use
like
those.
that,
Mhm.
yeah, you're just aware that they even exist. And so even those behaviors that change the consumer at home could be shared as well.
That's
So
great.
just a lot more like telling people we did a thing.
It's
We're
all
doing
about telling
stuff.
people you did a thing. Absolutely. Because
Okay.
no one's going to say, hey, I should do this until they see other people are doing it and they see it's the cool thing to do and they feel good about doing that. So when you tie that really good feeling to going out and cleaning up the beach or, being able to show that you did something positive, people want that affirmation that they saw them do something positive. We have a little lake around my house and I walked around it one day with our grabber and a tote bag and I picked up trash and a bicyclist went by and said, thank you so much for cleaning it. And it was like, oh, thank you. We noticed, people want that really good feeling that someone saw them make a big difference in their community or with the environment.
Seems like a quick update at GLF, like even once a month would be good for something like that.
Yeah, like pictures that we take of like whatever anybody did, like not, I guess, around like a theme. It's just like I went.
Yeah, even if we just took some of the stuff off Slack,
Yeah.
show it to make sure everyone sees it. But
picture, a
I'm even
hashtag,
thinking with how
way to get everyone on the same kind of link so that when you go to that, you can see the collection would be really good. Sorry, Caitlin, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I think that's great. I was just going to say, I think during October, we had such successful GLFs with kind of two focus, inspirational stories that I thought was really great that our company did. They weren't environmentally related, but maybe that's something we could target, kind of like what Colby did, because I thought that was really powerful, both for individual inspiration and it was kind of, I thought it was a really unifying, nice gesture as we've all been remote for the last 8 or 9 months. So, especially as we get down the road, we've definitely got some power users of green habits. Those could be really great kind of focus groups to maybe pull in for a GLF focus.
100%. So you just take that model and you replicate it towards green and environmental initiatives, right? So however they built that, you just focus it on a very specific topic and then allow people to participate that way, right? Absolutely.
To follow up on your ideas around engagement, making it social, you know, creating this good feeling of participating somehow. Are there other places in your mind where we would be making it social besides our Slack channel, or maybe even more than one Slack channel at GLF? Maybe putting it into our own social streams, like the ZipWhip company social streams. Are there other places that we should be thinking about?
There are different like green business groups, you know, maybe on LinkedIn or, you know, maybe ways for businesses to showcase the green things that we're doing. So then you broadcast that even outside of the company. When you think about recruiting employees, a lot of employees will ask, you know, what are you doing for the environment? What are you doing for diversity? You know, they're very aware of what a company should stand for, and they want those values to tie into what their core values are too. So if you have the chance to broadcast that outside of the company, I think that would be really important. And I think there are different groups to kind of help you get that message out as well. And I will have to look up what those groups are, but I have no problem researching that and then being able to send you a list and say, these are good places that the Patagonias and the Interfaces and the companies that are, you know, championing behind this are the space they're operating in. So this would be a good one for you guys to be part of. So I have no problem checking that out for you. Yeah. Perfect. Anything else I can help answer? I feel like I went fast, but you guys see good. Cool.
Well, another question, if no one else is chiming in, as we are conceiving of, you know, doing a series of some sort of educational series, come Q1, what do you think might be some bigger impact topics to cover? Or I think someone had the idea of bringing in outside nonprofits to lead something. Yeah, anything coming to mind for you in along these lines?
I would suggest waste. You could look at waste in the tech industry. You could think about, you know, how cell phone, like the lithium and the ion are mined and the environmental issues around that. You could really put an amazing tech focus on, you know, what could we do better in this space? Doesn't mean you guys at ZipWhip can necessarily make a change yourselves, but maybe you could back organizations that are making that change. There's a good group out there called TerraCycle, and they set up waste bins to collect the wrappers from your candy, your chip bags, those things that go into the landfill that you can't put in your recycling bins. And they take those hard to recycle items and they recycle them. So I think thinking about waste is probably one of the most important things you can do, because again, it's not just something we do in the office, we're doing it more in our homes, and we kind of have to get a handle on it, especially with what's going out into the ocean. And we're all using more items because, you know, I can't bring my reusable cup to Starbucks anymore. So how can I think about lessening my waste when COVID has made it difficult for me to do that? And if you start with the tech industry and think about how to support those efforts, then you can move into other things as well. Yeah. I like to be full of ideas, so just let me know what you need and I'll figure it out. So, perfect. Cool. Anything else? Anything at all? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we went a little over, but it was inspiring. So we'll transition into the meeting part of things, and with lots of gratitude and appreciation for you being here, Stellar.
Of course, thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me, Keith, and having me. You have my email, my Gmail there. So any questions, please just shoot me an email and let me know. I will go look up some more kind of groups that you can be part of, initiatives, things like that, and see how that can help tie into what ZipWhip is doing. So I'm happy to help in any way.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. It was
Yeah.
nice meeting everyone. Yes.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too. All right.